Tomorrow marks 1 year since the East Palestine derailment, and tonight KDKA is checking in on the progress there. Last hour, we got an up-close look at the remediation. Now we turn to the investigation.
A year later, we still don't have a definitive explanation from the government of what exactly happened. KDKA political editor John Delano recently interviewed U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and pressed him on why.
The Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, just a quarter-mile from the Pennsylvania state line, included 20 rail cars with hazardous materials that spilled into land, water, and air. Can we say a year later, why did this happen, Mr. Secretary?
Well, here's what I'll say. We have learned a lot already, even though the NTSB is still doing work on the root causes of this. That hasn't stopped us from getting to work right away on measures that can make railroading in America safer.
Can you give us any definitive idea of what went wrong?
Well, in terms of the definitive answer, by law, that will come not from me, but the National Transportation Safety Board. Their independence is something I respect a great deal, but they already have put out some preliminary findings relating to what happened in the wheels.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says it's not just track quality that matters, but the train cars themselves, especially train wheels, bearings, and brakes, which the NTSB cited in a preliminary report. Buttigieg won't criticize the NTSB, saying it's more important to get it right than fast. But he did criticize Congress for failing to pass the Bipartisan Railway Safety Act, sponsored by senators in Ohio and Pennsylvania and local Congressman Chris DeLuzio.
I am disappointed that there hasn't been more action on Capitol Hill.
This bill would increase fines against railway companies and include safety measures like stronger chemical tank cars and required wayside defect detectors along tracks to detect defects and failures in train cars earlier. Let me ask you about Norfolk Southern and whether you are satisfied that they have done all that they can do to help residents in both Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Norfolk Southern is responsible for cleaning up the mess they made. I'll tell you who's not responsible for this is the people who live in and around East Palestine, who through no fault of their own had their lives upended.
And although Norfolk Southern has done some things, Buttigieg says
we're far from being able to say that that's complete or that we're in a position to be satisfied because we know there's more work to be done to make the people of those communities whole.
And as we mark 1 year since the derailment, I asked Buttigieg if he had a message to the people affected by it.
My message is that we're going to continue to support these communities to thrive, for the families in them to do well and to make sure that they know that we have their back. But also, we're not going to let this incident go without major changes in the railroad industry and in railroad law in this country.
And he says the goal is to make sure this never happens again. John Delano, KDKA-TV News.